Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, executive editor of Madison365, with your daily update for what day is it? Wednesday? Does that sound right? January 19th. We're almost done with this pandemic, we hope, but I still have a hard time with concepts like time, which it's just permanently off now. So the numbers today. Here's the situation. It's a good news, bad news kind of day. I'm going to give you the one piece of bad news first, because this piece of bad news is not something that's happening today, right? What I'm talking about is new daily deaths. We've always known, as since the beginning of the pandemic, the deaths have lagged behind the cases, right? Cases go up. 4 weeks later, deaths go up. Cases start to come down. Deaths continue to go up and then start to come down 4 or 5 weeks later. That's just how the pattern has been. So with this Omicron surge, which started 3 weeks ago, really, Omicron started around Thanksgiving, right? It started to hit Wisconsin December 28th, 29th is when it really started to take hold here. And so we've seen this rapid increase in cases. So we've been holding our breath and waiting to see that translate into fatalities. And it seems like it might be starting now, unfortunately. It still seems like it's not going to be as bad as I feared. My initial fear was that we'd be seeing 70, 80 deaths a day. Today we're at 29, okay, which is the highest we've been since November 2020. We've hit 29 once before in the past in December. I think we hit 29 one time in January also. But then it's always hit 29 and then gone back down. But we're seeing 65 new confirmed deaths just today. And again, these are deaths that took place 4 or 5 weeks ago. So this may not even really be reflecting Omicron yet. So we could see a big surge in those deaths that have already happened or that are happening now that we won't get into the data until end of January into February. Okay, so that's the only bad news, is that it looks like we're not going to avoid that surge in deaths. It is going up. So the question is, how high? Are we going to get to 40 a day? Or are we going to get to 70, 80 a day? If Omicron is just as severe as Delta, you'd expect to see 100, 150 deaths a day based on the case counts. We know that's not going to happen because some number of people who are infected or are testing positive are vaccinated and therefore probably won't die from it, most likely. But also just supposedly Omicron is less severe, right? So you expect to see less than 1% die, maybe 0.7, maybe 0.5, in which case you'd expect to see 50 to 60 deaths a day. Still a lot. So we'll see, right? We'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll watch that number. Now, that's the bad news. The good news today is that everything else is going down, including hospitalizations. That's the best news. We'll get to that in a minute. The best news is in hospitalizations. But first, let's get to the numbers here. 12,909 new cases today. That's down from 15,000 yesterday, which is good news. That puts our 7-day average at 18,473, which is inflated. It's artificially high because of that data dump we got on Monday where there was 35,000 cases thrown in. So the 7-day average will return to a more normal number like next Monday. But that normal number will still be high. It'll still be over 10,000 probably, right? Which is really, really high for us. So don't worry about that 7-day average for right now. But the fact that we have fewer cases today than yesterday is good. The percentage of positive test rate here is 27 today. Yesterday was 27.5. Yesterday has now been revised upward to 27.6. Okay. We've been seeing where they'll report a number, and then the next day that number gets revised upward by a full percentage point. Yesterday was only 1/10 of a point. This is after a peak near 30% back on the 7th and 8th. Okay, so that positive test rate has been coming down. That's partly due to more testing. More people just going to get tested. More tests will drive down the percent of positive tests. But it's also fewer cases. Now, the really good news is hospitalizations. We're down to 2,163 currently hospitalized. That's a decrease of 59 since yesterday. It means a lot of people are getting discharged and then not replaced by new COVID patients, which is great. That's actually a decrease of 115 in a week. It's a 5% decrease in a week, right? That's no longer just leveling off. That's actually noticeably coming down. The ICU population, similarly, also almost 5% decrease in the past week. Only 6 fewer than yesterday, though, 459. Now, the problem, though, is that the ICU bed availability count is down to 64. It was like 80 yesterday. So that means there's other things happening that are putting people in ICU, which is normal, right? So we still don't have a lot of ICU availability in the state, but downward trend in hospitalizations is good news. Jessica asks, do we think the pandemic will be done this year? It depends what you mean by done. My feeling, and I think the feeling of most public health folks, is that we will reach endemicity this year, which means that the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, will become endemic, which means sort of background noise. It's something that we'll all just live with, right? Because most of us will be vaccinated. Some of us will get it. A lot of us will never confirm that we got it because it'll just be a sick day, right? It'll be, I got the flu or something, and it'll be COVID, but you'll never know that. And some people will get severely ill, and some people will die, just like with influenza. Now, will the pandemic be over? I'm optimistic that it will be. I think I don't know that we're going to eradicate it, like I said, the way we have measles, for example. But it's I think my guess is, my anticipation is that school next fall, in the fall of 2022, will be normal. Will be at whatever normal is, back to school, fully in person, no masks, and not nearly as many staff absences. That's my prediction, and we'll see. We'll see how right or wrong I am, but that only happens if we get lots more people vaccinated, which I think is going to happen, because we're going to get, the kids are just now getting their second shots for the most part. Kids will get their boosters. You'll get littler kids vaccinated pretty soon. Like, that's going to come in the next month or two. We're going to get like 6 months to 5-year-olds vaccinated. So there'll be a whole crop of kids that will never have been vulnerable, really. Right. So my optimistic prediction is that it will be over this year. It's not over now, right? Even this good news, I mean, who would have thought 12,000 cases would have been good news ever? Right? That's still way too many. We're still going to have 10,000, even if we keep going down, we're going to have 10,000 people tomorrow that test positive, which is an insanely high number, right? We're in the midst of it right now. Like, the fact that we're on the downward side of the peak, and I understand Aaron that is saying that Madison Metro School District has not peaked yet. That's probably true. I don't mean to say probably true. I mean, I believe you, Aaron, that that's true. That makes sense. That certain pockets will be somewhat disconnected from the other trends, but I think we're on the downward side of the peak, but that doesn't mean we can let up, right? Still got to get vaccinated. Still got to get wear your masks. Still got to do the social distancing, all that business. Yeah, I did see this. I saw 817 today. I couldn't remember what last week was. But yeah, the Madison School District is still having a hard time in a lot of ways, but I think it will continue to get better. This is absolutely right, Jessica. It's hard to say. I'm being optimistic and saying by the end of this year. I'm just also looking back at this past summer, how relatively low transmission was in the summertime. So if we get back to that, and then if we can figure out how to get back to that for this summer 2022, and then not have another surge in the fall, we'll be good. But we don't know. And that only happens if we don't let our guard down. Like you're saying, Jessica, you're absolutely right. Can't let our guard down. Get your boosters. Get your friends boosted. Right? Get your masks on. Order your tests. You can order 4 tests for free from the U.S. Postal Service at covidtests.gov. In fact, I'll put a link in the comments here. Literally takes 30 seconds to order, and you'll get 4 tests in the mail in January. Ideally, that's going to be probably later than we need them, but, have some handy. You start feeling not so good, take a test. That's how we beat this thing, is we test and trace and mask up and vaccinate. Right? Yes, those the rapid tests. I don't think they expire quickly. That's a good question, though. Oh, this is true too. You can pick up N95s at the Boys and Girls Club in Madison from noon to 6 every day tomorrow, and then every day next week except Monday. But they're also coming free from the government through pharmacies and stuff. This is a good question, Aaron. I'll have to look into this, and I'll maybe let you know tomorrow. But I haven't heard that they expire quickly. I don't know how they would be available on store shelves if they expire quickly. I don't wonder what quickly means. That's a good question, though, and I'll look into it, and we'll have an answer for you tomorrow. Okay, so that's the COVID situation. If there are no other questions, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. We can get to them. But I need to let you know that today the update is brought to you by the UW Department of Surgery and the Log to Lose program. Did you know that even losing just a few pounds can lower your risk of cancer and help prevent type 2 diabetes? UW, University of Wisconsin, is enrolling individuals into an 18-month project led by registered dietitians focused on developing healthy habits for a lifetime. Go to log2lose, that's log, the number 2, lose.com for more information. We appreciate UW and their School of Medicine Public Health for the support of Madison365 and the update. A couple of news stories for you today. First of all, the Rebalanced Life Wellness Association is hosting its 6th annual Off to a Good Start men's health event this weekend on Saturday from 11 to 1. It's a virtual event, which means it is a nationwide event that Aaron Perry and his Rebalanced Life Wellness Association is hosting. You can get more information on that and the speakers and the entertainment at Madison365.org right now. Also today, we learned that Madison Ballet has received a $15,000 grant from the Madison Community Foundation, specifically to create programs and opportunities for choreographers of color. Ballet, as you can imagine, is an overwhelmingly white discipline, but there are some terrific Black-led and mostly Black ballet companies that tour the country, and Madison Ballet is trying to get some of that here in Madison and to create spaces and opportunities for people of color who are ballet choreographers to create work to be performed here locally. And in national sports news, the Boston Bruins have announced that they are going to retire number 22 in honor of Willie O'Ree, who's the first Black NHL player. He played for the Boston Bruins in 1958 and went on to play 21 seasons of professional hockey. And he's now 86 years old. And he's started something like 30 nonprofit youth hockey programs. He has 2 rinks named after him. He's just been a massive presence in the hockey community on the East Coast and in Canada. So he'll be the, I want to say, the 12th or 13th person to have their number retired by Boston, by the Bruins. But it's about time. 64 years after he first took the ice for the Bruins, they're retiring that number. And he is the 12th player in Bruins history to have the number retired. All right, that is the news for today. That's what I have for you. I hope you have a wonderful evening and stay warm. It's going to be a chilly one tonight and tomorrow. So stay inside, stay bundled up. And until then, have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.